start OTAs today. Off-season team activities. It's time to get to it. Quarterback, time for you to get to it. Who do you think is closer to getting back to a Super Bowl, Chiefs or the Eagles?
This is not a difficult, this is a difficult question to me, but I got to go Chiefs. And the Chiefs for me for three reasons: experience, coaching, quarterback. Coaching and quarterback to me are the two biggest movers of any franchise in any sport in America. If you have a good coach or a great coach and you have a great quarterback, number one, experience. The Chiefs just in general have more experience than the Eagles. And I'm not just talking about playing game, I'm talking about playoff experience. Since Mahomes took over as the quarterback, okay, a couple things. They've been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. The Chiefs have played 21 extra playoff games since 2018 when Mahomes took over. The Eagles played 12. Eagles are 7-5 in those playoff games. The Chiefs are an astounding 17-4. So you got the playoff experience. You played about a season and a half of meaningful football. Then you go to coaching. In my opinion, I think Andy Reid's arguably the best coach of all time. Like, obviously, like Belichick, great. And what is the one thing that Andy Reid needed to really get over that hump? Guess what? It's a quarterback. And what did they do? They went out and drafted Mahomes. They got him 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. Who's the best quarterback in the NFL? It ain't even close. He's on another level. It's Patrick Mahomes. Who's the best coach in the NFL? In my opinion, it's not close. It's Andy Reid. I'm taking coach, and I'm taking quarterback, and I'm taking playoff experience. Those 3 things, for me, you can never count the Chiefs out.
Can't count them out, but I'll respectfully disagree, and I'll say it's the Eagles primarily because of roster. I think if there's something that can overcome a coach, a quarterback, and experience, I think it's just a significantly better roster. The Eagles lost about 5 or 4 significant starters, all of whom they have replaced. At the bottom, you see Nakobe Dean. You lose him to injury more than likely this year. You got Jihad Campbell, first-round pick out of Alabama. Working your way from the bottom up, Darius Slay, we have to wait on his replacement. I believe it'll be Ringo, former 4th-round pick out of Georgia. You lose Josh Sweat, you have Hunt. You lose Mekhi Becton, you draft Steen. You lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the 2nd round, you get Makuba. First and foremost, of a Super Bowl team to only lose 5 starters, and you all can actually dispute how many of those starters in the left-hand column are all that significant. But to only lose 5 substantial starters, what I would suggest are substantial, and then replace them 2 top 2 round picks, another draft pick, I just think the Eagles roster is so much better than everybody in the National Football League. I think the Eagles are more prone to get back. Interestingly enough, the conferences are relatively similar. You got the Raiders, you got the Giants. You got the Cowboys, you got the Broncos. You got the Chargers, you got the Commanders. Their divisions, rather, are fairly similar. But I think the Eagles' roster is just so good that I would give them the edge right now, 2-5.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with either. I mean, Chase said some good things. You know, you said some good things. And I totally agree. You know, one thing about you I learned from you on this show, I do. You know what I mean? They say, "Shit, you getting better on TV?" And I say, Acho. Acho take. This is my pick this year. The Eagles versus the Chiefs. They're going back again.
Back to back.
Right? I think you look at you look at the roster with the Eagles, but then you got the quarterback and you got the coach over there, and they're all similar. If you want to be technical, I mean, you got the OGs and you got the young guys that's right underneath them. That's why they keep seeing each other in the Super Bowl. Last 4 years, you've seen them play twice each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you might not like the answer because it's not biased. It's just straightforward, honest. That's who I am. That's what I do. Look at the Eagles. Look at the Chiefs. They're going to be back again.
Yeah. Respect to Andy Reid and Patty Mahomes. They special. Obviously, the AFC going to be a little bit more difficult.
It's always difficult for them boys, though, and they always get there.
True facts. They accomplished a lot. But for me, it's the Eagles. And it's the Eagles because of the roster. I think they have the better football team. And I know each year is different. I don't know how this year is going to go. And every time I give a take, I go off of is that if everybody's healthy. I don't put in no injuries. I don't put in nothing if everybody's healthy. I can't erase how big the gap was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, jeez.
I just can't erase it.
It's in your mind?
It's in my mind. And not only that, it wasn't a lot of big losses that the Eagles lost. And it wasn't a lot of big games that the Chiefs got. For me to be sitting over here like, ooh, the Chiefs got George Pickens. About to be different over there. There's not a lot of big games. So for me, that gap in the Super Bowl, man, it shouldn't have been that close. And they had the better quarterback, and they had the better coach. And they got blown out. So I can't erase that in my mind, and these are really identical teams coming back this year, and if they both stay healthy, I don't know how the Chiefs beat the Eagles.
And that's why I like the question, because it's who's closer to getting back to the Super Bowl. It's not who's closer to winning the Super Bowl. So your answer is great, but there is a gap, right? But we're not talking about it. They play in completely different conferences, and quite honestly, I have to disagree with what you're saying. I think the Chiefs division is much more difficult than the Eagles division, right? Like you look at the NFC East versus the AFC West, to me, it's not close. And I think this is sort of what I wrestled back and forth when I was answering this. I'm like, you do have a lot of proven, older, experienced guys with the Chiefs. That was my issue with the Eagles a little bit, was they have lost those 5 starters. Now you have new guys. You don't know that they're proven. You don't know what they're doing. And another thing that, it's not a huge deal. It will be interesting to see is that the Eagles have a new offensive coordinator. And look, I'm taking coaching along with the Chiefs. They have their same guys. Steve Spagnuolo knows how to call up plays in the right situation at the right time. Now, they got schooled in the Super Bowl, but how is Kevin Petula, the new offensive coordinator, going to call plays with Jalen Hurts? Is Saquon going to be able to get busy like last year? I mean, there's not a lot of question marks for the Eagles at all. So you almost have to look deep to try to find them. That's how good of a roster is. But that's why I wrestled with going with the Eagles.
They always have a new coordinator.
Yeah, Kellen Moore was a new coordinator.
Yeah. And
but that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of holes with the
But the
Eagles.
way he coached is way different from how they played this year. Yeah. If I say AJ told me, players tell me that the offense is really the offense.
No doubt.
They don't care who the corner is. You come over here to fit the Jalen Hurts offense.
No doubt.
Wouldn't you agree that you would for quarterback? It's the most important position in sports, in my opinion. And you look at Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, and what Jalen Hurts has done the past few years has been unbelievable. He's played better than what I expect. He's played better than what a lot of people expected. Don't you think the consistency of a Patrick Mahomes, wouldn't you trust him more to take the team further than Jalen Hurts? That's why I went with quarterback.
It's interesting because
Good question.
it is a really good question. Patrick Mahomes gets the benefit of the doubt. He's Patrick Mahomes.
Always.
Honestly, even criticizing him, people at the surface make it sound foolish. Patrick Mahomes' regular season the last 2 years hasn't been very consistent.
You're
You know
saying
that.
numbers-wise.
Yeah, even play-wise. He's thrown some picks. You're going, that's interesting. He's
he
pressing.
always-
His receivers aren't very good. Remember 2 years ago, receivers led the league in drops. Then last year, it's Pat's not really doing much statistically, da-da-da-da-da. I think Hurts, it's fascinating. Hurts is so good at winning at this point in time. I just can't count him out. I just can't. He's so good at winning. He makes the right play. If it has to be a 44-yard scramble against the Rams in the playoffs to get on the board, it's a 44-yard scramble. In the Super Bowl, if he's got to find Smitty with the game on the line, he finds Smitty to really break the whole thing open. They're completely different quarterbacks. Obviously, Mahomes is obviously better, but Hurts is just so good at winning.
That's the thing with the Eagles. It's not a Hurts just thing. So when we go with the Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, I don't want to have that conversation because we don't need to have it. Because we went through Saquon.
Yeah.
So if you want to compare that, you want to say, hey, do you trust more of Hurts and Saquon versus Pat?
Yeah.
But I will say this, though. It is a lot of quarterbacks that play Patrick Mahomes that press.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does make all the right plays when he plays Patty.
Yeah.
He went in the Patty building and beat him the last time when they was there, too, obviously in the Super Bowl. So I will say, the Joe Burrows and the Josh Allens, it is a little pressing because you know who's over there. Even Lamar, too. I think Hurts knows. I got 26 in the backfield. I got number 11 out here. So I don't got to press.
He
makes the right
we got a
plays.
lot
He
going on
does.
over there.
He does.
That's why I said
it's definitely the best roster.
It'd be like the old Cowboys versus Steelers type of always see each other,
Back and forth,
three, 4 times. So it'll be a good one.
We'll see how it shakes. What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.